record. And Jamie could not be here tonight, so I am going to moderate instead. Bear with me. We're going to start off by introducing ourselves. We've got a hefty group here. It's great, 26 of us. So I'm going to go by what I see. Let's see what I see. Participants. Okay. I'm Giselle. I'm with the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County. I am the coordinator. Greg?
Greg Dinger, Manchester West volunteer.
Madeline Ludlow, Marlene Ludlow. We have Madeline too. Marlene?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Marlene Ludlow.
Yeah.
And I live in the Mount Shasta uplands, and I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. Siskiyou Media Group, Dave?
Long way.
Hey, Dave, you're muted.
I'm Dave McAdams. I'm the Executive Director for Siskiyou Media Council. I'm reporting out of Las Vegas here tonight, so to be able to be with you.
Yeah. Greg Randazzo. Things are jumping around, so I don't know what's going on here. Hi.
Everybody, I am Gregory Randazzo. I work for CORE. I'm working on the Community Wildfire Defense Grant alongside the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Andrea Riviera. Oh, Candy Riviera. Boy, I tell you what. It jumped. Candy?
Hi, I'm Candy Rivera. I work for the Shasta Valley RCD on the California Wildfire Mitigation Program with Anna Froelich.
All right. Awesome. Laura Franklin.
Yes, I live in Skyview Estates, and I'm currently working with Candy. And we've formed a Firewise community here, and we're in the process of having our trees cut through a grant. Candy knows about it. She could explain it better.
Okay. And Madeline.
Yeah, Madeline, I am a Quartz Valley resident, and I just want to be in the know on what's going on with fuel reduction in the county.
All right. Christine Holst McGuire. You there, Christine?
Sorry. I'm with the Forest Service out of McLeod, with the Fuels Department. I'm relieving Brian and Hani and representing them for the Shasta McLeod Management Unit for the fuels reduction.
Awesome. Darren Weeks.
Hi, I'm Darren. I'm with the Siskiyou Air Pollution Control District. Just here listening in, see what's up around the county. Thanks.
All right. Tom March.
Hi there, Tom March, Caltrans. I work 7 counties in the North State and Siskiyou County. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Mute yourself, please, if you're getting called on. There's a lot of background noise coming through from someone.
Thanks, Nick. Nick, why don't you go next?
My name's Nick. I work at the Mount Shasta Bioregional Ecology Center. We have a community fire resiliency program that helps communities come together and figure out how they can work together to deal with ingress and egress issues. We partner with CAL FIRE, and hopefully we're going to work maybe with the Hammond Ranch Firewise community. I just have not had a chance to follow up on some of the inquiries. I'm not normally that grumpy either, but the the noise coming through was like next level.
Josh Bean.
Good evening, everyone. Josh Bean. I work with CORE on the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Project alongside the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County.
Yes, he does. So Kevin Mancebo.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Kevin Mancebo, and the Assistant Chief, Hazard Mitigation, CAL FIRE Siskiyou Unit, and glad to be here again.
Welcome. Chris Hake. Did I already do you?
No, haven't done me. Yep, and Hake. I am the leader for the Skyview Firewise community in West Mount Shasta.
All right. And Steve Diaz.
Hi there, my name's Steve Diaz, and we're just getting our Firewise community off the ground. We're in Mount Shasta, and we're going to be in the Holiday Lane and Michelle subdivision next to Lake Siskiyou.
Awesome. Patty Grantham.
Everybody, Patty Grantham from Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association.
Welcome, Patty. Kristen Norman.
Kristen Norman. I am Giselle's assistant and outreach coordinator for the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County.
She is. Jasmine.
Hello, everybody. Jasmine Borgatti, Chief Resilience Officer for Happy Camp Community Action and on the advisory committee for the Happy Camp Firewise. Happy to be here.
Okay, Thule Potts.
Hey everybody, I'm Thule Potts with the California Sierra Nevada Conservancy. Sorry, I'm multitasking, so I'll leave my video off, but good to be here.
Good to have you. Ruby.
My name is Ruby. I'm Giselle's administrative assistant.
Thank you for coming, Ruby. Patricia
Of
Lord.
course.
What?
Hi,
Patricia. Yeah.
I'm Patricia Lord. I'm the executive director of the Siskiyou County Arts Council, and I sit as a board member on the Siskiyou Media Council as well. And I also work for Jedi in Mount Shasta.
All right. I'm wondering, Michael Hintz.
Hey, everybody. Mike Hentz, work with the Mid-Klamath Watershed Council in Happy Camp within the Fire and Forestry Program, project coordinator. What a great team we've got together tonight. Amazing. So thanks, everybody. Looking forward to it.
Nina Nurnam.
Kaniram. Kaniram.
Kaniram.
Okay, it's yeah. Hi everybody, Nina Kaniram from CORE. I'm at CORE headquarters, which is in Los Angeles, but I head up the climate resilience and disaster preparedness team, of which Josh is a part of, and the community wildfire defense grant. So we're excited to be here to continue to support Siskiyou County in all ways and all partners. So thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Ogren.
Hi, everybody. Nancy Ogren here, Siskiyou County Supervisor for District 4.
Thanks for coming.
Sure.
I'm trying to see who, Darren Weeks.
Oh, I already introduced myself.
Yeah.
I was
You,
there.
there's 31 of you tonight, and these names are hopping around.
No worries.
Heidi.
I don't think we got Andrea Mayer. Did we get Andrea Mayer?
Hi, Timber Hills resident here just to observe and learn.
All right. And Darren Weeks, did we get you already?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Steve Diaz, did we get you already?
Yep.
Yeah. Jerry Sullivan, we haven't gotten. Jen Erickson.
Oh, Jen. I know we haven't gotten her.
Mariska.
Okay. Jen.
Hey guys, there's so many people on here. Wow. My name is Jen Erickson. I work on the Klamath National Forest as the fire prevention officer.
Yeah. And Jerry Sullivan.
Jerry Sullivan, I'm here to observe and learn.
All right. Mariska.
Hi, it's been a while since I've been on a call. I'm in Hammond Ranch. I'm part of the board in Hammond Ranch, but on a side note, not related to the board, we're trying to organize a Firewise community in Hammond Ranch with the help of Kristen, which we're very grateful for. It's getting closer, hopefully. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah.
Not just recently. You've been doing it for a while. So,
Yeah, it takes time.
yeah. So, is there anybody we missed?
We didn't. Someone else.
Yeah, Heidi.
Oh, there's Heidi.
Oh,
yeah.
I did call Heidi, but
Oh, and Jeremy Johnson, we didn't get either. So Heidi, then Jeremy.
oh, I've been talking to Jeremy, so I guess I thought he introduced himself. Okay, Heidi, and then Jeremy. Let's do it.
So Heidi George, and I'm starting the Gateway Firewise community. So I could use everybody's help to point their neighbors that live in the community in my direction. There's an email. It's called gatewayfirewise@gmail.com. And we'll send you a map and information. So if you can pass that along, that'd be great.
All right.
Good
Jeremy?
evening, everyone. I'm Jeremy Johnson. I work in the CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit, and I'm the pre-fire engineer. And also, side note, I'm pretty jealous of Jen Erickson being up at Statue Lake right now.
Did we get Marlene Ludlow? Did we already?
We got her. Yeah, we
Okay,
got her.
I think we got everyone then.
Please speak up. If you haven't introduced yourself, we'd love to get to know you and know who you are. Oh. All right, let's go to the next item. Siskiyou Media Council, Patricia and Dave. Do you need to share your screens or anything?
No, this was a last minute invite to present, and so I'm on the road, so I didn't have anything for today.
Okay.
So good evening, everybody. Thank you to the Fire Safe Council for inviting us to speak tonight. We really appreciate that. The subject that Kristen had asked us to talk about tonight is the low power FM radio licenses that we obtained back in March of 2024. We applied to the FCC back in December of 2023 for 12 low power FM radio licenses. The purpose was to give communities the opportunity to be able, excuse me for a second, it's just wonderful here in the airport. So it gives us the opportunity to give each community a chance to have their own radio station, terrestrial, not an internet station, and to be able to provide local content if they would like. They would also like to share content across the other 11 stations. And then at the same time is also give the opportunity to be another avenue for emergency notification and information, and of course mitigation, things like that. Be able to notify the community of what's going on, especially like with burns, prescribed burns and things like that, so that people can stay in the know. So we've been at this for a year. It's been kind of a rough road to finding funding. There's just not a lot of options out there for us, and we've kind of run into a few roadblocks, although we've seen some things perk up over the last couple of months for us to try to do a few things. We also have built a website. It's called, the web address is radiosiskiyou.org, and it's a shortened in Siskiyou's hyphenate, or shortened to SISQ, so radiosiskiyou.org. It's going to be up here in about a week or so. We just had it finished up, and we're just looking at it. Basically, it's for community engagement. It's for also for people sharing their stories about their needs for the need for local radio, and their experiences with if they actually had some type of notification during an emergency that they couldn't have gotten through the cell phone service or a cell phone app or through social media, things like that. And then also the other thing is if people would like, is also to help fund the purchase of equipment to make this happen. Just a little, right now, one of the reasons why in Las Vegas is I'm here at the National Association for Broadcasters, and I've been able to get some great information on sharing information on the sharing of licenses, so that we can reduce the cost of content, so we can actually play good music. And then the other thing is also finding actual technical expertise to be able to spec out the stations and the price and purchase equipment from those vendors. I looked at the prices of what they were doing on the floor. The prices are the same across the board wherever we've looked. So we know that we've got vendors here that we've got a relationship with, that they'll actually help us spec this out for free, and we can be able to then find figure out how much money we need per station to be able to get it up and running. So in a nutshell, that's basically what we've been doing so far with the radio station. And then we're working on grants to also be able to find funding. Kristen, if you would like to say anything, another thing to give us some, or come maybe remind me of something I'm missing.
Yeah, there was one question in the chat. If you are a 501c3.
Okay, so every low power FM radio station has to either be a nonprofit, a government agency, or a tribal agency. So if you have those three, that you can be at the radio station. And like I said, there's 12 of them across the board.
So is Siskiyou Media Council a 501c3?
Correct, we are.
Okay, so you have your own 501c3. So that was the question. And then,
Okay, yeah.
then every entity that is in charge of one of those 12 stations has to be a 501c3, tribal, or a government.
Right.
agency.
So like say the city of Doris has a license, Tule Lake has a license, the city of Weed has a license. Then in like for Mount Shasta, it would be the Arts Council. For McLeod, the Great Northern, I can't, Patricia, I'm not really sure which the name of that. But anyway, each one of those are either a nonprofit or a government agency.
Gotcha. So, so each of those 12 stations already has an entity affiliated with it?
Correct. Now, the nice thing about it is that license can be transferred to another agency. You know, if that nonprofit is struggling or whatever, or somebody else wants to pick up that license and run with it, you can transfer that license over to that individual. We have 2 years to build. We have 2 more years to build these stations out, and then the licenses go away. The licenses didn't cost anything. It's just that they have a 3-year thing saying you know to be able to start transmitting within 3 years, and we've been at it for a year so far.
And then once you're operating it, you can just renew it. Renew the
Yeah,
license.
and then every 5 years you would have renewed the license and things like that. So the things that they're looking for is making sure that you have programming running. It's not just static space and things like that.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons. That's the other reason for the Radio Siskiyou website is to be a hub for all 12 stations, so that we can be together. We can combine our resources, content, and data sharing, and also work together as creating MOUs amongst each other, and also with the Office of Emergency Services, with the Sheriff's Department, things like that, so that when they practice their exercises, if they want to take over the stations, then we flip a switch. Now they have the opportunity to be able to give a message to that community or communities across Siskiyou County to say, this is what's happening in the area. So it could be a fire, it could be manhunt, or whatever it may be that they want to give to the community. But it's just another reason, it's just another layer of communication. And the biggest reason why we were looking at for radio, and because the licenses, like you said, the licenses didn't really cost us anything, because but the biggest reason is that we are using cell phone or cell apps or smartphone apps. We're also using the internet, things like that, things that actually could go down. And if the cell tower actually gets overloaded, some messages won't get through. But a terrestrial radio station for that local community, as long as we've got ourselves our right connections and stuff like that, with working with the Sheriff's Department and OES and those communication processes, and figuring out how to talk to the different radio stations, then that message can be just continually pushed out. And you pick up the frequency on your car radio. It's all these stations numbers are somewhere around 94.5, 94.8 on your actual car radio. So it's nothing special.
Mhm.
And yeah. So anyway, anybody's got any other questions?
Yeah, Patricia had just popped in if anyone wants to look in the chat, she popped in a map of where all the stations with the permits are. And Nina, I'll send this to you as well, Dave. Says that communications and resources equity is part of the community resilience grants. that they are seeing coming up for applications. Yeah, I mean, so really the reason we wanted to bring Patricia, and I want to give Patricia the floor to add whatever else, is that, you know, we really feel like this is something that is an important asset that our county could definitely benefit from, especially in the event of emergencies. It hits close to home for me because I was a car fire survivor and did not ever get any official, notification, and was told that the fire wouldn't be anywhere near us for days and days, and then 8 hours later the fire's there, and we had to get out real fast and never even got notifications. So for me, a notification system is a big deal. I'm a really big advocate of what they're trying to do. And we're just trying to get the word out and hopefully network for them, with them, and get some, resources and networking, get some traction for them to get this off the ground. So if anyone wants to be part of any sort of committee for this cause, or has any ideas, resources, connections, that's what we're trying to garner here. So Patricia, did you have any other things to add?
I'll be brief if you don't mind, because I don't want to take up your whole meeting talking about this, but I was also in Reading during the car fire, and it was kind of a disaster in terms of communication, both from the city and the county, and emergency agencies that were there. And one of the reasons, a part of the reason why it was such a disaster was because at the time, a lot of people were using social media, but were not actually following official agencies. And so official agencies that were sending out messages on their social media platforms about the car fire, it was not getting to the people it needed to get to. I worked with the Arts Council down there to actually set up and manage an emergency alerts page that would share postings from a lot of the agencies that were putting out emergency information. And one of the things that happened is we actually got, our post got throttled by Facebook because our page was flagged as spam. So that was an important learning lesson for us, that relying on a privately owned social media platform that has an algorithm that is proprietary, meaning nobody knows exactly what the algorithm is doing with social media posts, is planning for disaster, because people can see posts out of order. They may not see posts at all. Or you also have the influence of people in the community who are sharing, like with Siskiyou County Grapevine, people will just post some random information that is not accurate, that makes the situation worse. So, and I knew also from hearing reports from the Lahaina fire, and anyone in Siskiyou County knows this, there are areas where cell phones do not work in Siskiyou County, even when the cellular networks are up and running. Anytime we lose power during a public safety power shutoff, cell phones do not work at all in Siskiyou County. And in the Lahaina fire, one of the reports that came out of that fire said that part of the problem with communications during that emergency was, even though the cell towers were not directly impacted by fires, what happened is power was lost to the cellular towers, meaning nobody's cell phones worked until crews could install alternate power to those towers. So my concern for Siskiyou County is we've been pushing this cellular app-based emergency alert system, but the second that power is lost, either to someone's home, meaning they do not have internet, or to the cellular towers, no communications will be pushed to anyone's cell phone. And losing power is one of the first things that will happen during a wildfire, is we will all lose power, whether it's shut off preemptively or whether there's an issue with the power line. So this is intended to be a backup to that system, because we can run it off of a generator for multiple hours. And most people have either access to a radio that's battery powered, or their car radio has a independent battery in it. And we are all supposed to have NOAA radios. No one has a NOAA radio. So emergency alerts on that FM bandwidth will not most people won't be able to pick them up. And additionally, NOAA radio actually does not reach into most areas of Siskiyou County, as Dave and I have found. So this is really intended to be a fail-safe, to be able to push messages to people, particularly in smaller and further off of I-5 communities.
Kevin has his hand up.
Yeah, just want to let you guys know this is a great concept, something we're working, although it's going low tech and not with the current tech world. I want to let you all know I was in Los Angeles by 10 o'clock on night one, and the entire LA basin was blacked out for communications. If I didn't have a Starlink that I personally paid for on my vehicle, I wouldn't have had communications to do my job. So just understand that this is an ongoing issue. I would say not just community-wide, but statewide. So this is a great step in the right direction.
Right. I was going to ask that. How about Starlink? And I guess, Kevin, you've had that experience. So Starlink is an option.
Right. And that's one of the things that we're considering as the consortium of 12 stations is to connect ourselves via Starlink. That would be part of the operating cost for each station, is to pay for that service and be able to communicate, and to so we would have that to where we could be able to pass messages on, and then of course then the person or message would be uploaded. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing now, the equipment is a lot of automation. So you basically record one message, you pump it out to the 12 stations, it's ready, and then it gets transmitted, and you can just put it on a loop. So it's just, there's a lot of options today with the newer equipment that's an automation, and being able to cut in and out, and to be able to, if we can, like I was saying, is that when we get these memorandum of agreements between the sheriff's department and OES, they basically can log right into the system through the Starlink, we can get their messages and then pump it out to the local communities. So it'd be something like that.
It sounds really valuable. So it's something we should consider pursuing. I think as a Fire Safe Council, we support you unofficially because I don't have my board's vote, but I support you and I think it's a good thing. So we'll see how we can move forward and find some funding maybe to expedite that and get it rolling in the right direction. So any more questions for Dave or Patricia?
I will put Dave and Patricia. Patricia, you can put yours in there. I'll put Dave's in there. Their emails. So if anyone comes up with any great ideas or wants to be on a committee, Jen Erickson already popped into the comments saying that she is stepping up. So that's awesome. Thank you, Jen. Kevin, you might be on the hook now too. So really grateful.
Just say in lieu of even helping to find funding, one of the things that we could use assistance with is, like, for example, Kevin, please share your story with the state OES, local emergency personnel, because I think the perception is that we are pursuing an outdated and functionally useless backup system. And every person we talk to who has actually worked in some of these wildfires or other emergency situations has pointed out the same thing: is the second power goes down, there's no internet service, there is no cellular service, and there are parts of Siskiyou County that don't get either of those anyway, as people in like Orleans and Forks of Salmon can attest to, even with Starlink.
And when this website goes active, at the bottom of the homepage there is tell your story, so you can put your information in and you can post it. And every story. The biggest thing about funding any project is that the community has to say that they want it. So if everybody's quiet, it doesn't matter how much we need it. Is that no funder is going to look at it and go, nobody really cares about it, so why are we going to spend this money on it? Right. So it really takes everybody, community, to say that they want it.
Well, also the old technology is going to be what will work when everything goes to heck in a handbasket. So there's nothing wrong with that, like cars, for instance, even. So anyway, yeah, very, very good idea, you guys.
Thanks for coming on, Dave, especially being en route to the airport.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for your input too. So that wraps it up
Okay, for that one, then let's move on to C, and I'm not sure if we're supposed to leave this one on there or not, but Jen, Klamath River Basin.
Oh, actually, you know what? Giselle, can we jump to Chris? Chris was gonna be needing
yeah, I'm
to jump off
sorry.
too.
I missed her. Sorry, Chris.
We were just gonna do it a little bit out of order. She's got stuff going on.
No, that's in order. I just skipped over B.
Oh, yeah, let me see. I'm not
It's
looking.
in
Oh,
order.
there it is. Okay.
Yeah, Chris.
Hi, everyone. I've been asked to go through the story for the Skyview Firewise community and how we started and where we are in the process. And I've lived in our house now since 2001 and all the way jump up to 2023. My husband and I were visiting Montague Hot Air Balloon Festival and learned about Firewise. And it had just coincided with our insurance company trying to drop us, or maybe it was the year before that they were trying to drop us. I can't quite remember the dates, but it had to do with the weed fire, and it was still within that 12-month period, and so they actually legally couldn't drop us, and so we got a pass on that. But it was enough motivation for me to say, hey, I will pick up the ball and see what I can do for our little community. So my husband and I did some research and then got a group of neighbors together. We kind of did a walk around and see who would be available just to come over for information and see how many of them are interested. I ended up getting almost 20 people, probably about 10 homes represented. And out of that, most of them signed up to be on the board for our community. We made a bunch of decisions on keeping it small and keeping it fairly easy to manage, or as easy as possible. And all within about 2 months, I took the examples of, 2 months from finding out about Firewise to actually submitting our first version. And it was all based on taking the examples that were provided, filling out the forms and getting it submitted. It was kind of right at the end of the year, and so they were really busy for the review. I didn't hear back for a couple months, got feedback, made those changes, submitted it. I had one more minor feedback, but by March or so, I was running out of energy and plus had a bunch of travel planned. So took a 6-month break, and then come September of 2024, got the gotten gear here and finished up the application and submitted it. And then by October, we were designated. Yes, certified is not the right word. Designated a Firewise community. And kind of in between, some of the steps in between, my husband and I actually did a walk around. The group defined the community to be about 40 homes. I think it's 41 now. We have a property that built a home. But my husband and I just walked around and ticked off all of the criteria and used that to build up our percentages of who has what, and then put together the action plan. Since it took a year, and I had also, when we were doing the walk around, dropped off the literature that is available for Firewise and defensible space. And many of the homes actually the summer of 24 did a ton of work. And so actually when I updated the final version, I updated all those percentages. It was actually a significant improvement just from 23 to 24. And this year, many of our homes are involved with the defensible space grant, and are having a lot of trees and their properties cleared. And so by the end of this year, we actually should have even more improvements. So I'm really looking forward to how it will go by the end of this summer. And So far, everything has been fairly easy, minimal time. I get a newsletter out a couple times a year, just providing updates. And I have very few people with email, and so a lot of it is walk around. And it's been really kind of fun to do the walk arounds, to meet the neighbors, talk to them. And otherwise, if they're not available, I just leave the flyer, the little newsletter at their doorstep. But that's pretty much it. It's been pretty straightforward and a bit of fun. And I'm hoping this summer we get a community barbecue going and a work weekend and really get more of the neighbors really engaged with everybody else, all the rest of the neighbors. So I'm also have regularly volunteered if people in Siskiyou County, especially around Mount Shasta, are starting their own Firewise community. I'm available to help, provide advice, especially if it's small. If it's larger, that's going to be beyond my expertise, but just doing a small one, it's pretty easy and straightforward. I can help out.
We're really grateful for you, Chris. You're very organized and such a go-getter, and really she did it all on her own. I didn't help Chris at all. She just took the bull by the horns and got it done. So she's a great mentor for anyone starting out. And we also have a mentor for anyone doing, actually two mentors for anyone doing large Firewise communities. We've got Stephen Decatur down in Dunsmuir, and now Michael Hens out in Happy Camps also doing a large one. So yeah, if anyone who needs support, also Fire Safe Council is here to support anyone who needs help in the process. So I just wanted to clarify when Chris mentioned she's that they're part of the Defensible Space grant. That's the Shasta Valley RCD's California Wildfire Mitigation Program that Candy from the Shasta Valley RCD mentioned. That is going on in West Mount Shasta, and you can find information about that on Shasta Valley RCD's website. So I think that was it, unless anyone has questions for Chris. And keep your eye out for the Fire Safe Council's newsletter that's coming out next week. And Chris has an article in there about the Skyview Firewise community. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome.
Chris is traveling too, so taking the time.
Good work, a lot of energy. So if no one has any more questions.
I had a question. It's Marushka.
Okay, Marushka.
Oh, just quickly. Thanks, Chris. I just messaged you if you'd be willing to share your email or phone number so I can learn more from you, because we're trying to do, like I said, start one up in Hammond Ranch. But what did you mean when you said percentages?
Oh, in the actual application, it goes through the criteria, and we actually just tabulated the 40 homes and then did a percentage. So it's like how many homes have the 5 feet cleared, and or what percentage. It's asking for percentages, 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and 75 to 100.
Oh, percentages of the houses have this.
Of the houses,
Okay.
right. I
Okay,
mean,
awesome.
we only had 40, and so I literally counted, we went by and counted each of the 11 criteria and tabulated it. That was one of the comments in the initial review, is they didn't want it detailed, they want it just general, because if you actually have 2,500 homes, there's no way you're actually counting individual homes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, my email is easy. My last name dot first name, so hake.chris@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And if you make sure you put Firewise like in the subject, so I don't disregard your email.
Okay. Hake.Chris, and it's Chris with a K.
Yeah, Chris with a K. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone else? All good questions. So moving on, and Jen, maybe you can answer this. Is there anyone to talk about the Klamath River Basin Wildfire Crisis Strategy Landscape Project.
I have a small update from them, but it's pretty cool. They have been working on refining a data set for us to use with some risk modeling software, so some wildfire risk modeling programs. And so they put together a workshop for the forest showing us this very powerful tool. It was pretty recent, but there's definitely some possible applications for the county, and not just Forest Service landscape. So we're looking to engage with outside of the forest to try and make this tool more readily available for folks. So it's pretty cool. It's very powerful. More information to come on that, but that was a big heavy lift from that group that came out. That's all I have for the landscape.
Would that be applicable to like the countywide CWPP update that we're just getting started with?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
It's very, very new, so I don't have very good specifics.
Okay.
But yeah, let's get together on
I think that committee, the CWPP committee, is going to reach out to Clint about that data. So
perfect.
Anyway, the next one is Community Wildfire Defense Grant. Josh or Greg or Nina, what do you have?
I'll kick it off. Good evening, everybody, and thanks, Giselle. For the Community Wildfire Defense Grant, with the change in weather, which has been very welcome, we've been a little bit more active. In the last 30 days, completed 27 home assessments. Some of you might have seen us out there. So that brings us to 60 for the year, and then a total of 124 for the project. Those assessments lead to defensible space implementation for homeowners, and that's what we have our sights on. So we've been busy in Cecilville. We've completed flagging there and pending to set that out to bid. And then we started last week flagging out in Forks of Salmon for homeowners. So that was exciting. Great work, Greg. And then Scott Bar started up this week for the Scott Bar Hamburg area, started flagging as well. If you know anybody who's interested in a free home assessment, it's a great report that it gives you, organizes all your home hardening recommendations and your defensible space recommendations. If you know anybody, I'll plug in the link into the chat and send it their way that may be interested in the project. I do want to hand it over to Greg. He may have a thing or two for the group.
Hey, thanks so much, Josh. I just wanted to share a little bit about a new Facebook page that we created for the Community Wildfire Defense Grant. It's actually not called the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Facebook page. It is the Community Wildfire or Siskiyou County Free Wildfire Defense Assistance. We just made it real easy and simple so people knew what we were doing. Yeah, it'll be a hub for sharing updates and highlighting where and what we're working on in terms of community wildfire defense grant activities across the county. We'll also be posting helpful tips and resources to help residents in getting prepared for wildfire season. I'll drop the link in the chat so everybody can hopefully give us a link and a like and a follow, and bonus points if you share a post to help us spread the word. Much appreciated, everybody. That is my update. I'll hand it back off to Josh.
Hey, thanks, Greg. That's all we had, unless there's any questions, or if Nina, if you had anything.
I do. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Greg or Josh? Cool. So I just wanted to, hi, everybody. Again, Nina Knierim. I work with Josh and Greg at CORE, and just wanted to give just a real quick update since CORE was so involved in the Southern California wildfires. Giving you all an update on the disaster response and recovery side of what CORE does. We've moved from, immediate needs and working with the, impacted individuals to at the disaster resource centers and moved into more long-term recovery. And so they're setting up a rebuild resource hub in Altadena area for the people that were affected by the Eaton fire. But there's also things that CORE has been able to do. They partnered with Caterpillar in order to clear out 2 of the large water storage areas that they had that got full of debris after the rains and after the fire. Corps was helping with some of that, doing some actual debris clearance on different homes and foundational areas, community centers, things like that. And so has really kind of expanded beyond sort of the initial response, typical response of an humanitarian aid organization like CORE, and moved more into long-term recovery. So these are things that we've done, around disasters in other states, but this is the first time that it's happened, obviously, in our own backyard. So we're setting up something like that here in LA, but this is also something that can be looked at as a model across the state. So having something like a large rebuilding hub where things like donations, people can come from the communities and sort of take what they need, leave what they don't. And also have, people with expertise on hands, additional resources. So that's kind of what they're doing with these sort of with the long-term recovery of these wildfire survivors. So it's just something to kind of think about, because, we've also talked about like Resilience Hub sort of on the, when something happens, is there a community center or something, someplace for people to go to seek refuge if they need to leave their homes? That's not necessarily a shelter per se. And that's something like this, where it's like in the community, handing out resources specifically for people who were impacted. So just kind of giving you guys an update as to what else CORE is up to in Southern California. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. That's really encouraging that you all are doing that, and that could possibly be an activity that would be good for Siskiyou County too. Any questions for Nina? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Forest Service updates, Klamath.
Okay. Hi folks. So we did our April 1st snow survey, and there was a press release that came out around that, and April 1st is our final one, and it's normally the peak of the snow year, so it's a good measurement to know about where we're sitting moving into fire season. So snowpack is at 105%. And yep, of the average. And then the water equivalent within that is at 114%. So good news there. Those measurements are
Oh, she froze. Jen, you froze. Well, while we're waiting for her to come back on, is there anybody from the Shasta Trinity here?
Greg has his hand up. I don't know if that's been up for a while. Sorry, Greg.
No, I just put it up. That's really good news because I was at Ray's just yesterday, and the Mount Shasta newspaper said something about the snowpack was lower than it has been in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good news.
Yeah, that is good news.
Yeah, I
So
believe in the Sierras, I believe they're calling it 60%.
Kristen, would you text Jen and see what's up, if she can get back or not?
Yep, I will.
Okay, then we're gonna go.
We've got Christine Holtz on from the Shasta T.
Yeah. Okay, Christine.
Yep, standing in for Brian for the meetings. But the big thing for us is that as the weather has been clearing up, we are looking at doing some spring broadcast burning. We're looking at 281 acres in that McBride section near the Gateway Trail system, which will kind of finish up that chunk that we've been burning around town. And then we're also considering about 761 acres out Highway 89, 5 miles east of McLeod, north of the highway. So again, as the moisture is kind of abated and we're seeing a warming trend, we are slowly getting in motion for that. So late April, early May is when we're going to be looking for those windows. We also have several contracts that are still in the planning phase from the SNC. Brian Murphy is planning a fuel break along the South Fork Road. It's still in the planning phase. And then we will be continuing to treat Lower McLeod, so Bald Mountain, Adina area. From the suppression side, our engines are all staffed this year, and we're about 75% staffing now with more seasonals coming on, so we should be fully staffed in June. Just looking at my list here. So Twin Arrows, there's a stewardship treatment plan for the summer. So that's dealing with the Port Orford cedar disease, which is why we have the closure. So, and fuel reduction. So work on that should begin this summer. And then the Everett Memorial Highway, we applied for funding to get contract in there, which was denied. However, we will have the suppression resources going in there and putting trees on the ground as we are able.
So is that end of report? I just want to say that Everett Memorial piece is looking really good, and up by the gateway, I'm impressed. I wish we could do that throughout all of the Forest Service lands. That would just be excellent. But anyway.
Yeah, so there's work, you know, for expanding some of the NEPAs for Mountain Thin to try and, you know, we see all that die off on there. So it's all talked about, just the cogs, you know, move slowly, but
yeah. Well, thank you. That's excellent report. Let's move on to CAL FIRE.
Jen is back on.
Oh, is Jen back on? Jen?
I'm sorry about that. Our internet is kind of rough for some reason today, so I'm going to leave my video off. Let's see. So we are in full training season for our fire folks, and we're also continuing to hire fire positions. Our staffing is looking good moving into the fire season. I sent out the press release for the prescribed burn plans for this spring.
Oh, she faded out. But while we're waiting for her to fade back in, CAL FIRE, would you like to start your report?
Yeah, good evening again, everybody. Kevin Mancebo, Assistant Chief CAL FIRE Siskiyou Unit. Giselle, I have to ask though, how do you have assistants and people that help you do your work? I need to get in that line because I think I heard a few people say they work for you or with you.
Yeah, two of those gals here, and boy, I don't know what I would do without them.
Well,
Yeah.
just to be clear, she has done this for 20 some odd years without any help and often without pay and volunteering a lot of those 20 some odd years. So she earned it. And it's because she wrote grants is how she was able to hire us. So, actually, it was CAL FIRE grant. It was CAL FIRE that funded the grants to hire us. So thank you to CAL FIRE.
Yeah, twice. We've got coordinator grants twice, and it enabled me to hire these gals. Otherwise, I'd still be doing it by myself. And we're going to go for a third round of coordinator grants or capacity grants to help us build our capacity. And
well, I'm available a few days a week, so you know, if you need somebody.
Oh, hey, I'll take you up on it. Don't say if you're not serious, don't say it because I will.
I'm not serious.
I would reach out. Okay.
All right. Yeah, as you guys will learn, I will get work done, and I'm a direct communicator, but I'm very sarcastic at heart, so I have to break the ice right out of the let's see. So staffing wise, I think we discussed it briefly last meeting. We were at peak staffing from Oregon to Mexico. So here within the Siskiyou unit, we're at 13 fire engines, 4 crews, 2.5 to 3 bulldozers, and come June 3rd, we will have a Chinook helicopter running out of Montague. So that's a big boy. Watch out if he's flying to run.
Nice.
And that's the staffing model again throughout the entire state. Everybody's at peak staffing, and we did that 2 weeks ago. So it's not a very good use of unprecedented because everything has changed. So that's just where we're at modern day. Let's see. Catching up on some things this last week. I got to go down to Scott Bar and met with Josh and Greg.
This one.
And
I don't remember the history, but this is the one we.
Fire Safe Council and the Scott Bar Fire Department, and they took the bait. Last meeting, I offered up our chippers that CAL FIRE has and our staffing to do some roadside chipping projects if some councils can help organize it. And so I don't know who the lead is, but Scott Barr is the one that took the bait. And so we're starting to work on that. You know, it's fairly remote, but we're going to back it up and follow the word. So those folks got that. And so the rest of you, there you go. There's your leaders. Everybody fall in line and give us all the work, keep us buried. So thanks for coming down there, Josh and Greg.
Yeah,
Let's
we're feeding you people. There's Chris that gave a little presentation with the Skyview Firewise. She is definitely going to be hitting you up for Chipper, and then the Dunsmuir, Decatur Dunsmuir is going to be calling you too.
Yep, I'm actually down in Dunsmuir looking at some projects today with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, which kind of couples in there. And then we're going to look at a project in Mount Shasta tomorrow. So I think the interlacing is starting to work, and we're going to connect the dots.
Awesome.
Retired Steve Diaz, fire captain there. You would appreciate that our peak staffing, we're at almost 15,000 now. So take that one and think about what. So let's see, what else do we have? So projects, if you're in North County, you've probably seen smoke north of Wairika. That's the Osgood project going well. We're in transition with the RCD. They're going to get some contract folks in there. We'll still have some equipment working there. That's going well. The Spencer VMP over in the south end of the Scott Valley, also smoke in the air, burning mechanical piles. Doing great stuff. Some other relations that have been fostered recently. We had a nice conference call with the Wildlands Conservancy. Broad stroke, some things that we want to go and getting some fire back on the landscape, but specifically we're talking about the former Hayden Ranch in the Callahan area, 6,000 acres. Just, you know, we're looking for targets of opportunity. And to be honest, we're looking at ways to get around the bureaucracy of things. So I am fairly transparent in that. We're trying to figure out things to do. Friday, there's going to be a public facing conference call about the state of emergency or the proclamations that Governor Gavin Newsom made. So that will be at 1 o'clock on Friday. I don't have the links for that. The discussion was exemptions for fuels projects. As you can see, I'm not dressed in full uniform today. I'm going to tell you all right now, don't hold your breath for significant hooray, we can get everything done. I think there's going to be some benefits, but there's going to be some challenges as well, as we understand, but that'll roll out on Friday. And let's see, I think just running down my quick list, that's it. I will use the airtime shamelessly. Darren Wheely from the Air Pollution Management District. I would love to get in contact with you. You're one of the friends I haven't made yet in the county. And Tom Marsh from Caltrans. I have seen your name on some environmental documents. You and I need to talk. I've got a pitch for you, brother. End of report, open for questions.
Is the CEQA done on the I-5 corridor piece that we did and that Vestra submitted for Caltrans? Because we have a little chunk of land there we'd like to fuel reduce. So.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I want to talk to Mr. Marsh. I've got a pitch. I want to put in a mechanical line on the I-5 right away from Edgewood to South Wairika to mitigate nuisance fires. It's going to be something easy. I think we can do some things. There's some easy grabs that we can minimize impacts on the community. And that's just how my brain works when I'm driving around the North State. So,
well, once it's approved, there's a CEQA from the Siskiyou overpass all the way to Edgewood, already ready to go when you guys are ready to go.
Look at you just connected the dots to the south end.
Right.
Thank you.
Well,
Kevin,
CAL FIRE did that. CAL FIRE, and I just wrote the grant.
I have a question for you. I don't know if it's a Kevin question or a Johnson question. On the 7th down in Sacramento, the Board of Forestry had their little Monday morning meeting, and they were discussing new rules and regulations for Zone 0. Do you know what, if anything, came out of that, or are you dialed into that yet?
Jeremy, I can speak to that unless you're polished up on it, and mine's less than polished.
Yeah, go ahead, Chief Mancebo.
Okay, so corner office meetings that we've had here locally, as we understand, the Zone 0 is probably going to be voted in to become law, if that's what you're referring to there, Mr. Diaz.
Okay, and what are the changes? What's new and exciting?
My understanding, and that would not be with air quotes, but my understanding is currently is that will be non-flammable vegetation within the immediate proximity to the structure. I believe that is 5 feet. Again, I'm not looking to be quoted on this right now, but that's my understanding. And if you have some more, Steve, you can just feel free for the group.
Well, I was going to wait until after this and then ask the people down in Sacramento and pick their brain a little further. I'll probably go ahead and do that and shoot you an email.
Sounds great. I look forward to it.
Well, I know if Candy wants to chime in from the Shasta Valley RCD, I know with their project in West Mount Shasta, they are already that project is operating as if Zone 0 is already law. They actually won't do anyone's defensible space clearing for that project with their grant funding unless the property owner agrees and signs off that they will let them take out everything in Zone 0 from the first 5 feet. So
I think
yeah.
the same is true with our CWDG defensible space for 5.
No, it's not. No, we're not doing that.
Hmm?
No, we're just strongly recommending.
Or you're recommending, you're not requiring.
Yeah, we won't back out if there's something in the 5 feet they want to keep.
Okay.
So and they're even bringing in, and Chris Hake, the Skyview Firewise, her Firewise community, a lot of the homes have had the work already done, and they're dropping like big trees, which is unusual. So that's amazing. They have the funding to drop those big trees out to 30 feet, and then they're also trucking in gravel to. They won't put it out; they'll just dump it, and then the landowners have to put it where they want it to replace everything that was taken out in the Zone 0. So Shasta Valley RCD is already implementing that, even though it's not law yet. Yep.
Hey, Giselle, I'll go over some grant stuff real quick while we're still on CAL FIRE topic. So good evening, everyone, again. After speaking with our grants folks, there is going to be another grant cycle for wildfire prevention grants that'll be coming up in the fall. There's going to be 2 separate funding sources for that. So any of the prospective grantees, make sure you reach out to your local battalion chiefs in the battalion where you have grant ideas for projects, and kind of get yourself aligned with them. They are the first stop in either approving a grant project and pushing it up to our other unit folks who do the grant grading. And then I'm also working on the unit fire plan, which has a lot of the unit priority projects, as well as the different other entity projects, fire safe council projects that are approved and supported by the unit. And that'll be posted most likely in around the July timeframe. And so you'll be able to search for that online. And then I'll leave a link to the CAL FIRE grants website where you can go in and that's kind of your starting place for the wildfire prevention grants, as well as CFIP and forest health and a whole host of other grants through CAL FIRE, the CCI funding. End of report.
Okay. So anybody have any questions? And did you get the links? If not, we have recorded this and we will capture those chat links for you as well. So reach out. Caltrans.
Jen is back on, and Jen, or anyone else, Dave with the Siskiyou Media Council has a question. If there's a database of snowpack and water content, he's looking for databases with XML or RSS feeds, air quality and satellite imagery, or other things they're looking to draw from.
It's just the only reason why I ask is that we have the ability to pull that information that's automatically updated. So like the information that Jen just gave about snowpack and water uh, capacity, if that's in a database that is accessible and it is in in that type of format, we can pull that, and that can be always in a central location that we could refer back to if anybody, organization wanted to know what the snowpack was. It automatically updates. So once it's set up, it's one and done.
Hey, Dave, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
I'm working on getting you the state website that has, I think, the information that you're looking for.
Perfect.
I just put a link to a air quality site, the airnow.gov
Perfect.
site that has got some nice maps on it for you too.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay, Jen, you want to finish your report?
Or maybe.
We can try, maybe third time's the charm. Okay, so let's see, where was I? We got, there's been an emergency situation.
And now she fades out. We have an emergency, and she fades out. Well,
Maybe she can just put it in the chat.
yeah.
Can
Does
you hear me
anybody
still?
know what her emergency is? My curiosity is piqued. Okay.
Emergency. What's the emergency?
There's no okay. Well, there's an emergency. So there was this was from the Secretary of Agriculture, and there was an emergency situation determination that came out. It was just issued a few days ago, and basically, we're expecting to receive direction from the Deputy Chief of the Forest Service regarding our NEPA authorities, and that would include streamlining of the Endangered Species Act and heritage analysis. And we would likely be looking at some guidance for some mandatory minimum scoping requirements. So that would hopefully streamline the planning process and allow us to get more work on the ground done. So that's specifically around forest health and wildfire risk mitigation. So it's very new, but I wanted to let you guys know about it. I'll have more information as time goes. So, and if anybody has any questions, they can direct them to me in the chat, and I will also put my information in there. You can just call me or email me, and I'll work to get you some answers as more information comes out.
Candy, I'm sorry. Candy put a link to the story, she said. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's for the zero zone.
Oh, zero zone. Oh,
yeah. I haven't seen anything yet in the media about this, but I'm sure there will be. The Klamath got some disaster funding from the McKinney fire. We got $27.5 million for watershed restoration within the McKinney fire footprint. So that can mean all kinds of things, including planting and fuels reduction. We also got an additional $13 million for roads and trails rehabilitation within the McKinney fire footprint. So that is good news. Up in north of Happy Camp, that district has been burning piles today up at Indian Creek, about 6 miles north of town, and they'll be up there again tomorrow. It's hand piles. And then there's a CE that's being developed around the community of Syad, and that's going to include, fuels reduction using a variety of tools like hand thinning and possibly some logging out there. So more information coming on that. And I'll say that something I wanted to say to this group is, we have a schedule of proposed actions. So any of the planning stuff that we're doing for projects, that is available on the internet for folks to look at. That's on our website. I'm going to put a link in there, and you can also sign up to get updates for any of the new information that comes out about our NEPA projects, including opportunities to comment. So I'm going to put that link in the chat as well, because there's another project I'm going to talk about down here. I feel like I have to talk really fast before I get knocked off again. The Salmon Scott District is looking at doing some underburning up at Scott Bar Mountain, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Our conditions are improving day by day. There's also a possibility we could be at Hayden Ridge, which is like northeast of Callahan, in the Masterson Loop area. So looking at about 200 acres at Scott Bar Mountain, and there's about 400 acres available to burn out at Hayden Ridge, Masterson Loop area. The Petersburg Fuels Reduction Project implementation is beginning. So that's roadside fuels reduction for egress and then treating around the WUI around Petersburg and Somerville. We're about to start doing some mastication up in Craggy. It's at Schoolhouse Gulch. And let's see, the River Complex EA is through scoping. So that is a big WUI project around the community of Callahan. They're looking to sign that environmental analysis this summer. And then we'll be able to start implementation. So that's good news. The Goose Nest Ranger District has a new FMO, that's Fire Management Officer, and it's Brad Rafiti. He has been on this force for a long time. He's going to do great in that job, and we're stoked to have him there. There is a fuels reduction CE, that's kind of like a small NEPA document that's coming out for rec sites, recreation sites, so campgrounds, etc.
I see that Greg Randazzo did post the article or a article about domestic timber production. I've read that. That's an interesting one. So go there. See what's happening. Jen,
Dan,
back?
this is Mike Hens over in Happy Camp, just an audio. Jen seemed to drop off at a really interesting point, which is a CE for rec site management.
Yeah.
And this has been on my mind for just years and years as a critical opportunity for really strategic fuels work for cultural and resource benefit. And I'm hoping Jen can come back on and elaborate on the progress of that element. I mean, this is a really important thing. So hopefully Jen comes back.
Yeah. When she does, we will get her back up to talk about that, Mike. Okay. In the meantime, Caltrans. Tom?
Thank you, Giselle. So Caltrans is going to be starting actually this coming week on our fuels reduction project on I-5 from Mount Shasta to Edgewood. We're going to start from the Truck Village roadway, railroad crossing, and go north. Start from there, and then once we meet Edgewood, we'll be coming south, and then hopefully make it all the way down to Azalea and tie in with past work from the Azalea projects. Our maintenance staff, we had some problems with the projects in the last year. It got a little bumpy with all the work that was going on with construction, so it created a little slowdown on that one, but we hope to implement and complete this year, hopefully by July. If not, we will try to push for as long as we can into the fall with avoiding the fire red flags days. Beyond that, our maintenance staff is getting ready, gearing up for doing multiple maintenance throughout. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maintenance stations in the Siskiyou area, and they'll be doing. I don't know exactly what they'll be doing, but those will be doing their routine maintenance on the roadside. Pretty simple. That's all I have. But Kevin, I look forward to talking with you. I'll give you a call tomorrow with some other staff and guide you. But whatever CAL FIRE comes up with as a fire safety lead, we've always given you green light and do whatever we can to make things happen and provide a encroachment permit and access. So just so long as it's you guys know the environmental clearances, and once that's the hardest part. So, but yeah, I look forward to working with you. That's all I really have. So, any questions? Marlene, looks like she's got her hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering, lower down in Shasta County, like where that big fire was along I-5.
The Delta?
Where all those dead trees are. Is anything ever going to happen with that?
Well, so there's multiple landowners throughout that strip. So we have our right-of-way varies, and it can go I don't know, I'd have to look at a map, but some areas throughout the North State, it's only like 16 feet and 12-foot roadway, or 24-foot roadway, and then so it can be very narrow, and it can be up to 200 feet on our right-of-way. Sometimes the right-of-way is easement, and we don't own the trees, so it gets very complicated. And then the trees are always removed post-fire if they're going to contact the roadway. But I think what you're saying, those are outside of Caltrans jurisdiction.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Sure.
Right, any more questions? And Mike, hence, Jen, if you're back on, had wanted you to expound on the CEs for recreation areas. Okay, she's probably
Poor Jen Erickson. She wishes she would be here with us more on on the Zoom call. Oh, she's probably feeling terrible right now. So let's go
well,
to
she
Jen.
gave us a lot of info. We appreciate her. So moving on, Shasta Valley RCD. You have an update?
First, Katie. Hello, I am working on the California Wildfire Mitigation Program for the Shasta Valley RCV. We work in West Mount Shasta area with a couple of folks who are on the call. We are making progress, thankfully, and we are going to finish 15 homes this month and get started on another 11 homes defensible space in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And we have a bid tour for that on Friday, and we'll see how it goes. And that's all.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Candy, are you guys still trying to get more folks signed up? You're supposed to do 100 homes, is that right?
Yeah, our goal is 100 homes. We still have some room for people to get signed up. We've been talking to people a lot this week. We might have a couple more people interested, but yeah, West Mount Shasta people, if you are interested in defensible space, please check out our website.
Can you pop that in the chat so it's easy access for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, and I actually hi, this is Andrea Mayer. Candy, I have a question. I have an application in the program, and I know there's like groups, and so are you moving on to group 3 next, or is that where we are?
Yeah, we're at group 3, and it's kind of split up into 2 subgroups so that we can hopefully, if we get enough contractors interested, we can have 2 different contractors working on it, because it's geographic, and so one group is on one main road and the other subgroup is on another area, and things have been moved around a little bit just to make a little more sense geographically, and so I I don't know off the top of my head where you are in our groups. Anna would know, but
Okay.
I'm still learning all of that.
Okay, great. I'll shoot a message to Anna. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Candy? Patty Grantham, do you have anything?
You done, Candy?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna tag on a little bit on the forestry program still in for the Shasta Valley RCD. Chief Mancebo talked a little bit about getting going with Osgood up in North Wairika. So you know, we're heading that way. I know that there's been a big push in March to close out, I think 3 or 4 major grants that were going on, including West Mount Shasta Forest Resilience, which was a pretty big grant. And so it's always good to see those things kind of get wrapped up. So I'm going to put my Siskiyou PBA hat on. I've been pretty busy in the last weeks and months in terms of doing assistance with landowners from Mount Shasta to Wairika in terms of getting burning done on their properties. We haven't had any really good opportunities to sponsor volunteer events yet, but we're heading that way. We might even be, with this weather, we might be heading that way here within a couple of weeks. And my hat's off to CAL FIRE. Really appreciate everything that Chief Mancebo and Seth Pendel and everybody else has been doing in terms of connecting with landowners to, you know, finish a bunch of fuels reduction work that's going on out there. So I think that's it from the PBA piece. Thanks.
Any questions for Patty? All right, we're going to move on. University of California Cooperative Extension is not here, but OrCal is. George?
Have to speak. Is it working?
Yes, I can hear you.
Usually have it on at the wrong time, so that's good. OrCal RC&D is working on the Outson Road project in the southwest corner of Wairika, and we're planning some workshops for maintenance, fuel break maintenance workshop. We're going to have them at the Greenhorn Grange, and we're planning on it. And our main target audience is the folks in the Outson Road Fuels project, but the public is welcome. We're planning on April 24th, Thursday, from 5:30 to 7:30, and then we're going to have one on May 17th. Starting from the Grange, it'll be 10 in the morning till noon, and we're going to do a walk out into the park area and talk about some of the different methods for maintenance of fuel breaks once it's completed and into the future. So April 24th and May 17th, and then we're really getting close to finishing our CEQA and then going to contract, and then the next phase will be getting the defensible space work done and the Ridgeline fuel break work. So yeah, weather's heating up, and so is the work. So
that's good though. Yeah.
Appreciate hearing everything out there. And also, we're working on a project on Highway 97 near Grass Lake. That Vista Point up to behind the Forest Service barrack station there and the Caltrans, and then 3 miles back in toward Ball Mountain Road. That's about 2/3 completed, 200 acres, 300 foot wide on each side of the road. One of our main partners is the Shasta Valley RCD on that, and working with the private landowners. And by the way, there's a new, I think our first one in the area, I think Caltrans is starting next week on construction of a wildlife overcrossing right in the same location. So that's pretty excited for that big elk herd and wildlife. And then what's cool about our project is we opened it up a lot and got rid of a lot of decadent brush, and the wildlife, deer and elk, really like that open space for safety to be able to see predators. So it's working out really good for that overcrossing to attract wildlife so they're not crossing the highway. and causing, wrecks and wildlife fatalities. So kind of a cool combo project there of fuels reduction, fire safety, and wildlife habitat improvement.
That's
it.
very cool.
That's it as far in the fire realm for Cal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, George. That's impressive about the wildlife bridge. Be looking forward to seeing that. And next, prescribed burn. Patty, do you have anything more to say? We've got you down as RCD and as Siskiyou prescribed burn.
All done, thanks.
Okay. Scott River Watershed Council, anyone here? Mount Shasta Bioregional, Nick, are you still on?
I am trying to finish my bite of spaghetti and bring you a little report. So we are sort of in between grant cycles, working with the funding that we have right now. In the past, we've helped communities come together to deal with ingress and egress and have walked through a lot of the paperwork with CAL FIRE and the county to do encroachment permitting. Kristen and Chris have also reached out to us about helping maybe coordinate chipper stuff with CAL FIRE for the Firewise communities. Our next major event is working with the city of Dunsmuir, who has a Green Waste Day coming up in early May. We're going to bring volunteers down and assist with homeowners that are asking for assistance. So the Ecology Center now has a tool trailer and a dump trailer that we can show up onto sites. We've worked with the Prescribed Burn Association in the past on some of their pre-burn work. And so we're hoping to regroup with new funding and come back and tie in where there's sort of the need we find is kind of translating between the agencies and the communities to let them know what's available to them and how they can team up together and work, like somebody else mentioned, getting to know your neighbor and seeing who needs help and how that help can be delivered. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Guys are doing great work. Sierra Nevada Conservancy update.
Thanks, Giselle. Not a lot from the SNC. Unfortunately, we don't expect to have a funding round this year. It looks like we will be able to roll out some of our Proposition $4 for wildfire recovery and forest resilience work, hopefully summer of next year. So CNRA is working on guidelines for that, and those will be forthcoming. The other substantial update is just that our governing board meeting for June will be held out in Modoc County. So not necessarily Siskiyou County, but close. So we'll be touching on a lot of North State issues and whatnot. So it'll be great to host our governing board here in the North State again. So other than that, just working with the Shasta Trinity on a couple projects down here in the South County, and we will have a small recreation funding round this summer. Not related, but tangential to a lot of the forest work that's happening in the county. So any questions or inquiries, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, good to see everyone. Thanks.
Any questions for Thule? All right, we'll move on. County OES, I don't think is here. Is there anyone here? Nancy Ogren, do you have something for us?
You guys have all said so much. I don't really need to say much. We're sitting around watching the new administration just juggle money back and forth and here and there and wondering, how we're all going to deal with it. That's our biggest worry, as probably as everybody else's. We've been worried about water. We've been worried about timber and how we're going to manage, with whatever new budget is handed out and whatever new laws or emergency orders or whatever is going to come down the pike. So we're just, we keep saying, just, you know, buckle up and hold your breath, or don't hold your breath. We don't know. We don't know. We just don't know. So hopefully we'll be able to, you know, keep moving forward. You guys are all doing great work, and you continue to do great work. And hopefully, you know, we can keep moving forward and not get thrown into a tailspin and move backwards. That's the biggest frustration, is we just don't know. So that's what we worry about at every meeting, is how to move forward with uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. So we're just looking at budget for the next 3 meetings, and trying to, you know, keep our capacity up, not lose anybody, and keep moving our projects forward in a way that is sustainable. And that's kind of our biggest struggle right now. I'll just leave it there.
Well, we
Thanks.
appreciate your support. You have been so supportive of the Fire Safe Council and the work we're doing here, and we appreciate you. Thank you for that. And
Thank
if we
you.
can help you, let us know. We're always up for whatever you need, trying to.
You guys all help me and all help us. That's the cool thing. And you know, you guys do great work continuously, and you are the backbone. You are what make things work. So don't stop doing what you're doing, all of you.
Oh, well, thank you on behalf of the Fire Safe Council, but there's bunches of other folks here, everybody.
And that's
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Hey,
So Red Cross
Nancy.
is not here.
Yeah,
Pack Power,
Nancy, this is Mike.
Somebody's
Just want to
somebody's calling my
say,
name.
what? Oh,
this is
sorry.
Mike Hens. Nancy, thanks for being honest about some of the chaos we're all working within, and appreciate your support for the work that this whole team is doing. But it's just neat to hear other people also expressing some of the kind of the difficulties and concerns we have as we have more unknowns. But keep up the work, Nancy. We really appreciate you.
Broad shoulders, gotta have them.
Thanks for giving me that second to say that.
You bet.
And Greg also seconds Mike, saying, Nancy, we really appreciate you coming to these meetings, only supervisor to show up and connect with us and the public. So that means a lot.
Well, my door's always open.
Well, thank you for that.
Sure, you bet.
Red Cross not here. Pack Power said they'll be next meeting, hopefully. They were out in the field today. NRCS, Jim, he's not here, I don't think. Are you here, Jim? I don't remember him. Siskiyou Air Quality, I've got the wrong name on there. Go ahead. Darren Weeks.
Yeah, nothing prepared per se, but just here if anybody needs anything in these large burn projects. If you need to help managing the smoke and picking a right day, we can help you with that. Any large projects, we would appreciate setting up a smoke management plan just to kind of mitigate the smoke impacts of people, and I can help you with that. And anything else that's air quality wise, we're here at the county to help you. So I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. It's great seeing all this community stuff together, and this great county we live in. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Darren. Nothing from the sheriffs or CHP. I don't remember seeing anyone. The Natural Resources Department of the county, not here. Nancy, do we have a Natural Resources Department anymore? Because I know the gal that was doing it, Nielsen, she moved to something else, right?
Elizabeth just left the end of last week, and she's over in Klamath as the executive director of Klamath Water Users. So we are gonna backfill not her position, but a position that can do is a little bit more widespread. So no, right now we don't have somebody in her shoes, but the other deputy CAOs in our office can support in any way that's necessary.
All right.
So if you need anything, just either call over there or let me know, and we can answer questions as needed.
Thank you. That sounds good. The Wyden Amendment, Stevens funding, I think we determined last time it's kind of at a standstill, but Jen or anybody, do you have any information on the Stevens grants?
No update on Stevens.
Okay. Moving on, local fire safe councils. Anyone from Black Mountain? I'm gonna move pretty fast. Black Mountain. Butte Valley, we're doing some work in Bray. It's ingress and egress along one of the roads out there in conjunction with its Forest Service funding, and they are advising us during that time of work. Copco Lake, nothing. Dunsmuir, anybody here from Dunsmuir? Kristen, you want to speak on their behalf?
Sorry, I could not get, my thing was moving all over the place. Yeah, like Nick mentioned that the Dunsmuir Fire Safe Council / Firewise Community, City of Dunsmuir have a big Green Waste Day coming up for any Dunsmuir area residents on May 3rd, I believe it is. And that they don't, and that's not like the Wairika Green Waste Days where they let anyone come. They kind of limit it since they can't take a huge volume of green waste. So just to the Dunsmuir area folks, doesn't have to be within city limits. But yeah, they're just really doing great with their Firewise community down there and getting people signed up still and helping us out a lot with our Fire Safe Council grant, getting landowners signed up for all the environmental analysis that's being done down in the Dunsmuir to Castella range. So like we were saying with Caltrans, so this is mostly doing the CEQA, so that 600 acres, right, Giselle?
Yeah,
Six,
the CEQA's
go ahead.
been approved.
Yep.
So we're just signing up landowners, and Stephen, bless his heart, has gone door to door knocking, trying to get people, and he's got a ton more signed up. This is in South Dunsmuir along Butterfly and First Street and River Avenue. So that's where we're going to start. And then we may move north as we progress with people who want to sign up. And yeah, and I think Core might be moving down to Dunsmuir to do a little work too. We'll see what happens. So yeah, good things going on there.
Yep.
Then Greater Weed, we have a grant to write a community wildfire protection plan for Greater Weed, and Kristen is the lead on that. Would you like to talk to it?
Yeah, we just had our first meeting for that yesterday. Proactive Wildland Resources is the contractor that is on board to do that, and also the update to the countywide CWPP. They are who did the last update to the countywide CWPP 6 years ago. So they're and they're local folks. Many of us all know and work with Julie Titus and Jay Perkins. So we're really lucky to have the experts on board to do this for us, and really excited to get that in place for the Greater Weed area. That will help get grants and tie in great with all the momentum that Marushka has drummed up in the Hammond Ranch area, and bring everyone to the table and connect the dots between all the entities. It's a really great process, and there'll be public engagement as well with that process. So really excited to get that off the ground.
So Marushka, you want to say anything about the Hammond's Ranch Firewise, or Hammond's is next?
We're just plugging along. Kristen, I'll send you some dates. It's been getting there.
Yeah,
I'll
we're
send you
getting
some
there.
dates. We're going to have an initial Zoom meeting with Kristen and however many people we can get to just sort of tie it all up in a little pretty bow and get everyone on board.
Yep.
But I think we're getting there. We're working on little pods, and it's just, trying to get other people involved. So it's not being trying to keep it separate from the board, the Hammond Ranch board, HLA, I would say. Not separate, but just
What does HLA stand for?
Hammond Landowners Association.
Okay, thank you.
Not keep it, yeah, like it's just make it its own thing so it doesn't feel to people that, you know, it has to be, that you have to be part of the landowners to be part of Firewise, or just, I don't know. And also just to build the community and have other people involved, not just this little group.
Thank you, Mariska.
Thank you, thank you. And
I
Kristen,
have-
I didn't mention Josh earlier too. And then did I misunderstand, or did somebody at the beginning when they were introducing themselves mention maybe somebody, Nick? I don't know if it was the Nick that just spoke,
Yeah.
that he's gonna maybe be helping us with the Hammond?
Yeah, they said that sounds like they're kind of in between grant funding for that kind of those types of projects right now. So we might, might have to put a hold on having them jump on board.
I'll put my
Might
email
not,
in the chat.
yeah. So
Okay, I'll jot that down. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any more on Hammonds? Let's move on to
Sorry, I don't know if I unmuted myself or not.
Michael Hintz, Happy Camp.
Hey guys, Mike Hens. I'm looking at a window and seeing an amazing moon rising over the ridge to the east. So hopefully I can step outside and see this. And another kind of weather thing is I think we've gotten over 65 inches of liquid precipitation in my simple rain gauge up Elk Creek this winter. So what a winter, and it's great to see the snowpack is well, although it's causing a road failure on Elk Creek, which is
Oh.
potentially a big deal for us. Okay, so to business. Probably the coolest thing going on is next week, the first time at the Happy Camp High School, we're hosting a basic 32 fire training for about 16 to 20 high schoolers.
Oh, nice.
And this is a big deal. It takes a lot of planning, to say the least. But these youth will have the opportunity to basically go through the NWCG, National Wildlife or Wildfire Coordinating Group training and get basic qualifications, and that's cool. So that's happening in Happy Camp next week. We have tomorrow night our first ever Happy Camp Firewise advisory committee meeting. So we've been trying to become a Firewise community. Happy Camp. We put in an application, but rightfully it was rejected because we have more work to do. So we're taking steps and bringing people together. And one of the big deals is, for instance, identifying great neighborhoods and liaisons within those neighborhoods to represent Happy Camp, to motivate coordinated work to be done. So I think we will accomplish this. It'll take some time, but that's a big deal tomorrow. Of course, we always have prescribed fire work in the Mid-Klamath. We'll do some burning in the early summer, early June window, and then we'll have a huge Klamath River Treks prescribed fire organization in the fall. We're literally thinking about bringing about 100 people in, creating two different organizations out of Orleans and Happy Camp, and that's always good to teach and learn about using prescribed fire around our communities. And over the last decade or so, we've really gained more support for this effort. I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Mancebo, who I have yet to meet in person, but his energy coming into our area is so excellent. And I've been reaching out for some shipping projects in Syad and Happy Camp to motivate CAL FIRE to come down, because I'm picking up on the energy of Kevin and also with Seth Pindell. So those are the chipper days, and I've got some more notes, but we have a full-time Happy Camp Fire Safe Council crew up and running. They've been working since their winter furlough. So they're always out there manually with chainsaws building piles. We've finished our pile burning a couple weeks ago, which went really well. And I just want to, I guess, thank everybody for sticking in for these long meetings. But this does count for us all to be together. And as people in CAL FIRE say, maybe end of report. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Mike. We don't have Glenn Jystad, one of our Fire Safe Council board members, who is also the Horse Creek Fire Safe Council liaison. He's not on here tonight. But they are doing stuff, getting kind of resurrecting their Fire Safe Council out there. At Juniper Flat, we haven't heard too much from lately. They finished
They're
up a grant.
gonna apply for the next round of CAL FIRE grants. She says she wants to continue the work out there.
She's diehard. Margie, really lucky to have her out there.
Hey, Kristen, I need a classic go back, if that's okay. Way at the top of the chat, everyone. Part of MICWIC and our partnerships are the Western Klamath Restoration Partnership, and there's a bunch of field trips coming up. And at the very top of the chat, I posted some links to that Western Klamath Restoration Partnership. There's some links to be a part of this in the RSVP. I think lunches are provided. They're happening in the Salmon River. They're happening in Orleans. They're happening out of Happy Camp. It's in mid to late May. So if you want to join a bunch of cool folks, go to the top of the chat and follow those links. And sorry, I had to mention that. And I'd be terrible if I forgot it. So thank you.
Oh, I agree. You are a bunch of cool folks out there.
I'm looking forward to those field trips and the cots going back in the truck, and I'm staying downriver for those.
Good. We've had the best times when we've gone on some of those workshops and events down there. Okay, moving on. Klamath River? No. Lake Shastina, we do have a project there, ingress and egress, with CAL FIRE along Big Springs, and we need more people to sign up. CAL FIRE reached out and said they may do some of the work. We just need to get those folks on board. So if you know anybody that lives along Big Springs and Jackson Ranch, we really need them to consider signing up. We are working and might have to do a Stephen Decatur and just go knock on doors. So anyway, and we're working with Vestra. Vestra Resources is our project manager out there. All right. Lower Scott River, McLeod, and Mount Shasta. Heidi, I don't know if you've gone or not, but I want to talk about your Mount Shasta Firewise community you're working on.
Yeah, sure. So right now I've identified about 125 homes, and I've got 2 maps in the chat that you can click on and open and print and pass them around. I'm identifying neighbors that might be interested in being captains. And funny thing, both Kristen and Giselle have a foot in the door in that area. Giselle lives across the street from the border where it's kind of the southern boundary, right? Right, Kristen? I mean, Giselle,
Yeah,
you're
that's right.
yeah.
Good. Yeah, just
Yeah.
the road that it ends on is half county, half city, and so anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I have been talking with Seth from Caltrans, Cal Fire, excuse me, Seth Pindell. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to talk to the battalion chief for our area. And he's been gone, and I haven't connected him with him yet, but Seth is going to connect us. And that conversation is really going to be about trying to get some momentum for some chipping. So, you know, things are kind of late, you know, for our area, but I really would like to get at least 5 feet of clearance from people's homes. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And I heard a statistic from Oregon fire folks that it's that first 5 feet that reduces the fire risk by 70%. That's a big number, and I don't know where that came from, but I'll run with it for now. So yeah, there's nothing formal going on. This is still, you know, not an accepted Firewise community, but we're going to work in that direction. One of the maps that I have on there has all the contact information and some thoughts and websites for CAL FIRE and for the Siskiyou County Fire Safe Council. Yeah, so that's what I have. And I see Kevin has his hand up.
I do, Heidi. Where was it that you're at? I'll put the contact information up direct. What location was it?
Okay, it is north of Mount Shasta City. Okay, it's between the eastern portion of
It's up Everett Memorial from the high school, basically. Both sides of Everett Memorial.
Okay, I got it. I'll get you the contact information here momentarily.
Awesome, thanks.
And then
actually, we're going to bounce back to the Scott River. The Scott Bar Fire Safe Council has been getting resurrected. And core folks, Josh and Gregory have been down there quite a bit the past 6 months. We're meeting with them and doing CWDG stuff down there and kind of putting some wind in their sails. And they are having a Scott Bar Fire Safe Council meeting Thursday, April 17th at the Scott Bar Community Hall with a potluck. And he put the flyer in there with Doreen and Linda's numbers. So it's awesome and exciting to see folks rallying to get some of our defunct fire safe councils back up and running.
yeah. And then also in Mount Shasta tomorrow at 3:30 via Zoom, we will be having our quarterly Mount Shasta Area Fire Safe Council meeting. And I just put that Zoom in there. I'm having a hard time getting it to go. But anyway, and reach out to me if this doesn't work.
Or if you need to be put on the Mount Shasta
Okay.
Area Fire Safe Council's email list.
Yeah.
Get those quarterly invites. Okay, Quartz Valley, Madeline was on here. Madeline Lavaggi, I don't know if she's still on here, but she's been trying to get folks activated out there in Quartz Valley to bring back their fire safe council. I think she needs a few more folks by her side to help get that going. Oh, she's still on here. Madeline, do you want to chime in? Even if it's for like needs, asks what you're looking for or how anyone could assist you. I don't know if she's still listening in, but all right. Salmon River. I don't think we have.
Hey, Christine. I'm here.
Oh, there she is.
I had to figure out the unmute button. Yeah, I am rethinking whether or not I can get enough people. It's tough. A lot of people don't want to have other people on their property, and it's I'm respecting that, and so I'm seeing ways around that and still get something done with the people that I have. But for now, I don't think I can go towards a fire safe council. I mean, a Firewise community with right right now.
Yeah.
That's all I got right now.
Yeah, and you know,
Thank you. That's
Fire
good
Safe
though.
Council is a great, you know,
Yeah.
great way to go. You don't have, I mean, Firewise, you know, is
Sure. And you showed up here, so we know that you're very interested and it's on your heart. And we won't give up as time goes by and more interest is piqued. Have
Yeah.
have
So
faith.
actually, as far as the Fire Safe Council resurrecting that, that hasn't really been my drive because it's just been kind of vague and unclear if anyone is doing any fire safe stuff in Quartz Valley. I know what's his name, Larry, was doing it, and then I didn't know if that was transferring to the Quartz Valley tribe. So I just really haven't been coordinating on that and finding out, is there a way to
well, that's kind of where we would, you know, kind of come in and try to help facilitate that. So if you have direct name and numbers of folks with the Quartz Valley tribe or have any relationships that you can draw on to make those contacts, or if, you know, you want us to try to do that, you know, that's our role as the county umbrella to help those community level fire safe councils.
I'll reach out to the tribe for this month and see where that's at and see if, what they need, or if they are going in that direction, and if not, then
Yeah,
where
and I think that's a really great plan of action, is to try to get them to take that lead, take the reins, and you know, if it fits into some kind of organizational structure they already have, that's ideal, and we can come out and, you know, organize a meeting and be there with information, and, you know, just to
Okay, that sounds like a plan. All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, you've been coming to all these meetings for so long, and I feel like we need to yeah, get some support going over there for you.
Michael, you have your hand raised.
Oh, I'm looking at the agenda and I see that Salmon River is included and then Syed's like semi next. So
Oh.
we did a really neat prescribed fire up what's called like the Godfrey Ranch area
Yeah.
on the Salmon 2 weeks ago with some great landowners. And it was just at this window between rain and then a lot more rain with great landowners. It was a great training opportunity. And I just want to give a shout out to like when you have wonderful landowners or land stewards, as they like to call themselves, land ownership is not their thing, and great people who are motivated to come out. It was just awesome. And we had a campfire that night, etc. So the Salmon River Restoration Council is doing a ton of work, even if they're not here tonight. So I
Yeah.
want to make that clear, right? They're out there really engaging the community up and down the Salmon River. That's for sure. And then as far as Syed, there's Jamie Allen. Many of us know who he is. He's worked with the Northern California Resource Center for forever, born and raised in Syed. So he's, I think, beginning to remotivate the Syed Valley Fire Safe Council concept. And I'm going to get Kevin Mancebo and Jamie together. And I spoke with them yesterday about starting some chipping work. And sometimes it just takes some like real implementation to get the spark going, to really motivate people to do things. So I guess I'm just speaking up for SRC, San River Restoration Council, and Syed in my little ad lib right now. But it was so fun burning at the top of the Salmon Ridge where you could see the Trinity Alps snow capped and Thompson Peak and the whole
It's so
thing. It was
beautiful.
just ridiculous. I hadn't been up that high. I live in a valley up Elk Creek, and it's like to get to the high country was just remarkable. And let's not forget that we have the most remarkable mountains in the world here in our background.
We are so blessed to get to live in Siskiyou County and do the work we do, to be outdoors, to be on the hills, to be in the valleys. We have been abundantly blessed here. So thank you, Michael, for that. Wairika, George, you want to say anything about the Wairika Fire Safe Council? Is he on anymore? Because he spoke for the RCND. I don't see him. So open forum.
Oh, Kevin's had his hand up.
Oh, Kevin.
Yeah, I didn't get the name of the individual that's speaking about Quartz Valley and trying to get things going there.
Oh, Madeline Lavaggi.
What you said. Just on a go back to that, I do know that an individual, first name is Sam, and I do know his last name, but he was contracted by the group there in the valley to work on a CWPP. So that might be something to work in conjunction with the Firewise community and those things. As often happens in these groups that we're involved in, there's great intentions, but it's hard to get everybody connected together. And I'm really trying to do that. But just so you're under the awareness that they're working on a CWPP for the Quartz Valley and the tribal lands there. So
Well,
just maybe.
that's good to know. Yeah, because we're as you may know, we're updating the countywide CWPP, and we're going to be reaching out to all of these entities. So it'd be good to get all of that information collected.
And
Yeah.
that would be the push, I think, as a group would be to come together so that the different entities that may be trying to put CWPPs match or parallel at least the county plan. And if we could do that, that'd be great. And that's how this networking works.
Yeah, and that's our hope. So
Yeah, actually that when you just said that, Kevin, there was I think she was a biologist with the Quartz Valley tribe that came to our booth at the county fair, the Golden Fair, last summer, and was saying something about they had a grant in the pipeline. So yeah, that's good connecting the dots there.
yeah, it's great. So open forum or others present, does anybody have anything they just want to say? You don't have to just want to say it. If you want to say something, say it. So
Steve, you're making that face. I know you got something.
yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, but I think I'm just going to exercise my right to remain silent.
All right. Well, next meeting is April 9th. Same time, same station. Not April 9th. I didn't change that. Oh, look at there. There's a typo.
May 14th, isn't it?
May 14th, yeah.
May 14th.
May 14th.
And we will have at least one guest speaker that's already confirmed is a insurance broker from down at Goosehead, which Kevin on our last meeting had referred us to. And then a few days later, I talked to someone else who also had been dropped and got reinsured through Delos, through Goosehead. So there's two folks. So I went ahead and called them up and got one of their brokers to commit to being a guest speaker at next month's meeting. And then we also were hoping to get a rep from the Fair Plan, who's supposed to get back to us.
Kevin, you were going to share your Delos story. We've got almost everybody gone. Maybe you can think about doing that unless you want to do it right now. We only have 15 people.
It actually turned into a train wreck, and then the train actually jumped right back on the rails. Yeah, it was recommended to well, long story long, lost insurance because of high wildfire severity zone, lost insurance. Goosehead found Delos. I was actually recommended by a broker to move to a different agency that had a better price, and I happened to be, I think I missed the last meeting or 2 meetings ago. I was in Mexico on a dive trip. While we were gone, the brand new agency dropped us within the first 3 days while we were out of the country, got dropped. Goosehead pulled strings, made contact with Delos. Delos reinstated with no gap, no additional fees. They stepped up and reinstated our policy. So That's the abbreviated version.
Interesting.
Good, yeah.
Did they
and
give a
we got-
reason for dropping you after they just wrote your plan?
Yeah, a portion of my house has a flat roof over the residential component, and apparently that was how most of the insurance agents in Northern California learned through us, my private residents, that flat roofs are uninsurable now.
Interesting. Huh.
But you also got a significant reduction in your premium through the whole process, right?
Let's see, there's been checks issued, refunds, repayments. I can't speak to that, but all I can say is I have homeowners insurance and I'm thankful for that.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. When I talked to Jeff, I can't remember his last name, was the broker at Goosehead I talked to, and he said that he's been writing a lot of plans in weed specifically, a lot of new plans in Siskiyou County, as general, with Delos, bamboo, which is one that Annie from United Policyholders had also mentioned that they heard we're starting to write policies in high risk areas, and also heritage was the third one that he said we're writing a lot in Siskiyou County. So
Harrison is the one that dropped me in the first 3 days.
oh, bamboo's the one. Oh, interesting. Okay.
One shot, one kill may have been the anomaly, but that was where the lesson was learned for the brokers.
Interesting. Okay.
Kevin, I have a question. Did they tell you what the minimum roof pitch is to be insured?
You know, I wear glasses when I read, but I probably didn't read all the fine print. You know,
That's a really, yeah, we'll figure that out. That's a good one.
Really, and I can't speak to reading all the fine prints, but yeah, they got me.
Yeah. Darn. Thanks.
Well, thank you, everyone. And we're here. If you want us or need us, call us. And I hope we can do the same. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thank
Happy
you,
spring, everybody.
Bitter
Happy
end.
spring.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And Steve, I know you've been trying to get me oh, there he is, moved around. Sorry, I've been lagging responding to your emails and your voicemail. I'm in the midst of moving, so I I will get back with you though.
Fortunately, we're not time sensitive right now.
Okay, well, thanks for your grace.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hey,
everyone.
everyone.
I'm gonna
Bye-bye.
grab the
Bye.
chat
Bye,
here.
Ruby. Unless. Okay, you can probably stop recording, Greg.